All right.
All right.
Jude.
Yep.
This is your pick.
I know.
You made us watch this movie.
I was rough for me too.
I hate you.
Listen, we chose box office bombs, big budget,
And you can't
box office
You can't
bombs.
talk about
And this was the biggest one. Yeah.
Not a new movie.
I'd never seen this movie before, but I think we all know
Heard about it.
the urban legend of
infamous.
Gigli.
Yeah.
So, okay, I'll give you the
Why don't you
synopsis.
tell us about this movie.
All right, Gigli came out in 2003. It's 2 hours and 1 minute long, I believe. The synopsis is Larry Gigli is assigned by a crime boss to kidnap the brother of a prominent district attorney. A beautiful woman known only as Ricky is sent to stay with him to make sure he doesn't mess up the job. So before I get into the budget, it became the first film in history to sweep the top 5 categories at the Razzies.
Like, it's the GOAT. It got all
Yeah.
5
Yeah.
of the major categories.
Worst picture, worst actor, worst actress, worst director, and worst screenplay. The budget was $75.6 million. What do you think it made?
$75 million?
Uh-huh.
It made $38 million. I don't know.
Vader?
$1.
Budget of $75.6 million. It grossed $7.2 million.
And I win again.
Damn.
Yeah,
Worldwide.
Oh my
Yeah.
God. Well, I gave it $4 this week.
Lopez and Affleck each got $12 million to star in the film.
Yeah, their combined salary was more than the movie made.
I lucked out on that one. I'm gonna tell you guys what I was thinking, and then I had a revelation after I was done watching the movie. I was in the shower getting ready for bed, and I was like,
You know
You
what's
thought about this movie in the shower?
I did.
yeah, you know what's weird, Alex, is like you actually liked all these bombs.
What was the first one? Jupiter's. I didn't like Jupiter's Ending.
Okay, you like 2 out of the 3 bombs.
Yeah. No, I wouldn't say I like this movie. I'm gonna get crucified if that goes out in public. I don't like this movie, but
He's going to go into his, but I appreciate it.
No,
once I
no.
thought about it.
But that's some good moments.
No. I found this. I don't know if it was just the mood I was in or whatever, but I was watching this movie, and it's got to be one of the most unintentionally funny movies I've ever seen. Every scene is so awkward and weird and borderline, like, kind of offensive.
Uncomfortable watch.
Uncomfortable. But the lines, if you're watching it, like, Dicosaurus Rex, are you kidding me? There's a line where
Put the clam licker on the phone. Jesus.
there's lines in this movie where I was like, oh my God, I can't believe they just said that. That's fucking hilarious. And after I
You mess with the bull, you're going to get the horns.
the whole scene, he's in the shower and he's trying to amp himself up so he can go and screw this lesbian. Or he doesn't know. He doesn't know yet.
And then he comes out in his silk robe, and he just like takes it off like he's in a commercial.
It looks like you.
Like I just thought I pictured him picturing himself walking out like on the cover of a Harlequin romance novel with like a fan blowing at him.
He's not even ripped. He's got like a dad bod.
Oh, he's got the worst tattoos.
He's flexing inside the mirror. I was dying laughing at this movie.
I thought that was the most cringeworthy scene. in the
It's so
entire film.
cringe.
It's so uncomfortable.
It's so cringe. Okay,
Did
so
you say quinge?
cringe? Sure, quinge, whatever. I don't care. And,
That's what the other guy would have said.
yeah,
It's so quinge.
so quinge. What's the matter with you?
Baywatch.
Baywatch. God,
It's
damn
a
it.
quinge, Louie.
It's so cringe.
Larry.
You know what was the other cringiest scene was when the mom started talking about her lesbian experiences.
You know, I wasn't always Larry's mom. Oh my God.
And then once she finds out that Jennifer Lopez is a lesbian, she makes it a point to kiss her on the mouth.
And she's giving her like the bedroom
And
eyes.
like when you first see the mom, she's wearing a thong.
Yes. A pink thong.
And she's all like fat and old.
I love it, dude.
Well, she's
It's so
actually
funny.
probably more like our age then.
Oh man. Anyway, so the revelation that I had after
Fat and old.
this movie was just in my brain, and I'm like, why was it so funny? Like, this movie was so unintentionally funny, and I realized this is a Will Ferrell movie. Picture Will Ferrell instead of Ben Affleck with all the Will Ferrell-ness that he has, and it becomes so much funnier. Can you not? Is that just me?
That's just you.
God damn it, man!
I can't. Yeah, no, I
Will
can't.
Fer-
I can't wrap my head around that.
Picture him saying some of these lines about like the bull and the cow, and he's mooing in the bedroom while after.
Yeah, but
he has,
then it's an actual satire movie.
yes,
This isn't
exactly,
satire.
exactly. If they make this a satire movie with Will Ferrell, it's just I don't know. To me, I was like that would have been like almost like a Talladega Nights like over the top comedy movie.
Here's how I would have changed it. I would have swapped Ben Affleck with Christopher Walken.
Dude, the cameos in this movie too.
Yeah.
I was like, is that Al Pacino?
Al Pacino?
Yeah.
What?
Yeah, for sure.
So for you obviously don't know, but Martin Brest was the writer and director of this movie. And he is the Oscar-nominated writer and director of Scent of a Woman, which is where Al Pacino
Leave it to
won an
Kadish.
Oscar.
Became Al Pacino.
Yeah, but like Martin Brest, like he was a very famous director. He had done Beverly Hills Cop, Midnight Run, Scent of a Woman, Meet Joe Black. So like he had like this big pedigree of like movies that were award winners and box office hits and had done really well. And he wrote and directed this movie, and this is the last movie he ever made. This movie ruined his career.
Rightfully so.
Yeah. But it's actually kind of interesting because the way that this movie panned out, the Brest's original version of it was actually much more of a mafia focused kind of story.
Yeah, this movie doesn't know what it is. It's not a mafia movie. It's not a romantic comedy.
The reason is because it got reshot by the studio. And so this is what happened. So basically, Jennifer Lopez and Ben Affleck met on the set of this movie. Originally, Halle Berry was supposed to play the Ricky role, but she dropped out because apparently the script was bad. But they cast Jennifer Lopez.
And then she went to Catwoman.
And Jennifer Lopez had just gotten married like a couple months before the start of this movie.
Yeah, this was when she was married to her backup dancer, right?
Yes, Chris Judd. And so basically, she was married at the time. She met Ben Affleck on this set. They started a fling together. And then she divorced Chris Judd after 9 months of marriage in order to be with Affleck. And so the romance between J-Lo and Affleck kind of got a lot of publicity for this movie. And in fact, like right after this, she did the music video for Jenny on the Block and had Affleck in it as like, her like boy toy. And so like at this time, the media kind of just pounced on this relationship. They called them Bennifer. It was the first time that they'd actually like jammed up like a celebrity couple's name.
I was under the impression that they were already a couple, and then this movie kind of happened.
No, that was Jersey Girl. So basically, she divorces her husband to be with Ben Affleck, and then they get like engaged like
Immediately.
Almost immediately, like in November of 2002.
It was a giant pink ring. I remember it.
Yeah. And so, so Lopez and Affleck begin filming Jersey Girl together. And so Gigli is kind of set to come out kind of at the height of the frenzy surrounding their relationship. And they do like these test screenings where the movie is completely different from the movie we got. And it does not go well. Basically, there's a whole different ending where it's revealed that Jennifer Lopez's character, Ricky, aka Rochelle, like she was actually not a real contractor. It was her girlfriend, the one who shows up and slits her wrist, who was the
that came out of nowhere.
The mafia lady. Well, apparently it was set up better in the first incarnation of this movie, but their relationship was on the rocks, and so Rochelle wanted to know more about what her girlfriend Robin's life was like. So she intercepted this job from Lewis. Larry?
Oh,
No, the mob boss's guy.
okay, Lewis. Yeah.
She intercepted this job from Lewis, and so she goes to Gigli's apartment to pretend to be her girlfriend, and basically that's why she always kind of gets out of situations by talking her way out of them in the movie. Like she never actually like beats anyone up because she's not actually trained to like do any of that stuff. And after Lewis gets killed by Al Pacino's character, Strickman, I think that's his name, she realizes that it's like too real. And so she confesses to Gigli that, she's not who she says she was and stuff like that. And so she leaves, like she like basically gets out of town. And Gigli decides that, he wants to kind of turn Strickman in for killing Lewis. So he goes to Christopher Walken's character to hand over Brian. And Christopher Walken turns out to be a dirty cop who's working for Al Pacino's character. And he tries to kill both Brian and Gigli. And Gigli ends up killing Christopher Walken's character, but he takes a bullet to the gut in the process. And so he drives, like he's driving away with Brian to try to get him to safety. And as they're driving, they come across the Baywatch shoot on the beach. And so Brian starts freaking out, saying, Baywatch, Baywatch. So Gigli pulls over, and he sends Brian into the Baywatch chute. And he sits on the beach, and he basically just dies while he's looking at the waves of the beach as Brian kind of gets his happy place.
That's a dark movie.
Yeah, it was a very different, like a lot more serious,
That's
a lot more of a
mobster
movie. And the studio was looking at the test screening results, and they were seeing that they weren't good. And so they were like, you know what? We need to cash in on the Ben Affleck, Jennifer Aniston craze.
Lopez.
We're going to turn this into a romantic comedy. And Martin Brest was like, no, absolutely not. So he fought with the studio on this. And the studio basically went in and re-edited the movie and made it into a rom-com.
Yeah.
Is that when they incorporated a romance between these two characters?
I think that romance was always kind of there.
Okay.
Just wasn't so...
But like the happy ending of her coming back and picking it up and them driving away, like that was not originally in the script.
Yeah, like when I was watching this movie the whole time, I was like, this movie's really confused as to what it's trying to be. Like at times, it's trying to be like a dark mobster thing.
I just spent most of the time wondering if it was appropriate for me to laugh at things.
Oh, it's funny. You remember
it's like, the handicap guy's making some funny noises.
Dude, when they were in the morgue,
yeah,
and he starts beatboxing to
great
Baby Got Back,
yeah,
I was dying laughing.
As he's sawing off a hand with a plastic
with a plastic knife.
Like Jude was like, a plastic knife? Really? How does that even work?
I was like waiting for it to not work. I was like, no.
It's going to break or something.
No.
Like these are the
No.
Will Ferrell moments. This is the Will Ferrell moment.
My
right?
wife and I both decided that the Brian character.
You made your wife watch this?
Yeah, I owe her a foot rub now. And we both decided that Brian was the best character in the movie.
Okay, yeah.
And that we want to see more of his stuff.
Yeah, you like how his Tourette's just kind of disappeared midway through the film.
I would watch a series of just Brian.
Yeah, for sure. That's the
A
name of the show.
franchise. Yeah.
Just Brian.
Just Brian.
Hey, do you guys remember when the movie turned into the vagina monologues?
Yes. Gosh, man.
That was
Like there's a whole scene
where she's like stretching?
Yeah, she's
where
stretching.
she's doing yoga.
And you're like,
It was like a full 5-minute scene of
Yeah.
just J-Lo talking about her cooch
in her camel toe. It's like, whoa.
and how superior it is to the male organ.
Yeah, right after Affleck got done with a monologue talking about how great dick is.
I'm telling you guys, this is a freaking Will Ferrell movie.
But the best part, so like we've already kind of talked about this, was when he was in the bathroom, because so like he invites the Ricky character, Jennifer Lopez, to, instead of sleeping on the floor, because Brian's got the couch, she's welcome to share his bed, strictly professional, of course. And she's like, okay, I'll take you up on that. So she's in bed reading a book, and he's in the bathroom. He thinks he's going to get laid. And he has this whole kind of like super cringe scene. And I feel like most of it was ad-libbed.
Probably.
But he's got this whole like...
he thinks he's so intimidating, too.
Well, before this happened,
This is like typical New Jersey. Like,
he had this whole monologue about how there are only two types of people in relationships: bulls and cows. And I forget how it goes. Jude, do you remember?
There's a bull and a cow in every relationship.
Yeah.
So it's not two types of relationships. It's just like two types of people in every relationship. One person has to be the bull and one person has to be the cow.
Yeah. So the dominant and the submissive.
Right.
And he's in the bathroom and he's like flexing his muscles and he's like, yeah, I'm the bull. You're the bull. You mess with the bull, you're going to get the horn.
You want this horn? I'm going to give it to you.
Yeah.
Give you this horn.
It was so cringy.
so bad.
Stick
so
this
bad.
horn
But it
right
was
in you.
equally as bad as her like poetry about her vagina. Like I'm like, my God. And then you see like the faces that Ben Affleck was making while she was saying that. And I'm like, oh, this is weird.
It was some of the worst acting I've ever seen.
I don't think they were acting. I think that was just them like
No, but like his reaction to stuff, like they keep showing reaction shots of Ben Affleck throughout the movie, and it's almost like like acting class level bad, where it's like, now look surprised, like now look like, whoa, that was interesting.
I wonder how many scenes it took him to film that scene. How many
the
takes?
vagina scene?
Yeah.
I think it was all ad-libbed.
I
Do
mean,
you think she just knew all that?
That's a conversation they had earlier that day.
That's
they were
what
like,
sold them.
here's what we're going to do.
I don't think it would. I think it would have been better if it had been ad-libbed, because it just was so cringy.
How many times have you ever confused a vagina for a mouth? It's the sister organ.
Of the mouth.
Yeah.
Like all the time.
It's like
Just like speaking into a vagina, being like, oh God, I'm sorry.
But it was funny. There was a certain point in this movie where Jude turned to me and she's like, oh my God, is he going to convert her? Is he going to turn her not gay?
Yeah. I said, is he going to cure her gayness? And Matt just like looked at me and just kind of like gave me a slow nod. And I was like, oh, fuck. Why did I pick this movie?
But it's funny. This is actually the second movie Ben Affleck has had sex with a lesbian.
Yeah, that's true.
Chasing Amy was the first.
I don't know, man.
So
Can we stop making movies where you cure gayness, please? Please.
Is that a thing?
Well, they did kind of set it up with the mom scene where she
That was
like,
so forced.
She was like, "You've been with boys before, haven't you?" And Jennifer Lopez is just kind of like, "Yeah."
I can't tell you how many times I've had this conversation with your mother.
No.
This movie is so
Tell me about
awkward.
all your sexual partners. Now let me kiss you on the mouth.
And then like in the scene where they actually do have sex, where she's like, turkey time, and he's like,
Ugh.
what?
Gobble,
she's like,
gobble.
gobble.
Give me some of that hetero head. That's gross.
Especially after like he made a big deal of saying like he was really good at it.
Yeah. I'm really good at getting head.
Yeah.
You'll see.
A little hot tub time machine reference there. Yeah, but and it turns out that Jennifer Lopez's character is the bull in the relationship, and he's the cow, and he kind of realizes that, and he's just kind of like, oh.
And then he moos.
Yeah, he moves.
He moos after
So
sex.
bad.
That's a scene in this movie. I'm telling you guys, if they would have just went full over the top comedy and like Will Ferrellized this whole thing, it might have been salvageable.
Well, that's why this movie sucks, because they didn't.
It didn't. It was like, no, we're going to be a mobster movie for 15 minutes, and then we're going to be a comedy, and then we're going to be a romantic movie for another like spot here and there. It was so weird.
And Ben Affleck's like mobster gangster character was so wishy-washy. I didn't understand why Lewis needed him at all.
I don't either. The whole time he's like,
Well,
sorry, Lewis.
I guess
Sorry.
Lewis was kind of like a mess up, and he was the only guy that Lewis really had to send out on jobs and stuff. But there were two scenes in this movie I thought were pretty good, and that was when. So Gigli doesn't have any books in his house, and Brian before he goes to bed, he keeps asking Gigli to read to him. He's like, "Read to me, Larry," and so like. Ben Affleck has to find stuff to read to him, so he just picks up random stuff like a Tabasco bottle, and he starts reading him like the little thing on the label.
And Brian's like, that was really good, Larry. Thank you.
In the second scene, he's like reading a Charmin roll.
You don't have any books? That's pretty funny.
And she had a book. She could have just picked up her book.
Yeah, she could have lent him the book.
Yeah.
But also, I thought the best scene in the film was Christopher Walken's little cameo. So he comes in, he's full Walken.
Yeah.
Like he's just in it, like his voice is going on all these different pitches.
Walken Prime.
He's like, you know what I want to do right now? I want to go to Marie Callender's. I want to get a piece of cake with a bunch of ice cream. I want to put it on your head so your tongue can slap you in the face as you're licking it. And it's just like, what is this dialogue? And then Walken, as he's leaving, he just like stops. He just stops and looks at Ben Affleck for like a good 10 seconds of him just like giving him this weird Walken stare. And then without saying another word, he just turns around and leaves. It's the best scene in the film.
So weird.
Never shows up.
Never
again.
shows up.
it's like-
they didn't even say his name. You don't even know the name of the character.
It's like they got Walken and Al Pacino. Got him on the phone. It's like, hey, I need you guys to come in for an afternoon so we can put an extra 15 minutes in this movie.
That's exactly what it
I'll
is.
give you,
You guys-
$10 million.
You don't have to act.
15 minutes of your time.
You don't have to act. Just be yourselves. Just do
Say
your
whatever
thing.
you want.
Yeah.
Just come in, say whatever you want. We're going to film it.
Wow. Shoot you with the gun. Boom.
And Al Pacino has this weird ponytail.
Oh my god.
In his disheveled suit.
You make me come down here to this place. I don't know where I am, and I'm going to take care of business and stuff. And
Shoots and it's silly. Yeah.
But the walk-in scene was so much better than the Pacino scene, just because it was so weird. And like 60% of this movie takes place in Gigli's apartment.
Yeah.
His like crummy Hollywood apartment. And it's like so bland. It's almost like a stage play because it's all just dialogue about stuff you don't care anything about. And Ben Affleck's character is so terrible to Brian through like 90% of this movie.
Yeah, the justification for him being like, "Hey man, I'm real sorry about," and he can't like look at like that was the worst acting in the whole thing is when he's trying to apologize to him for being a jackass, and he's just like can't look at him. He's just looking around. I'm real sorry about. I can't say
Who
it
I am.
because I'm too macho. I can't. I was just like, oh my god, dude. Yeah, that was bad.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it's funny because in addition to holding the record for sweeping the Golden Raspberry Awards, this movie also holds the record for the largest drop-off in ticket sales after the opening weekend.
Ooh.
After
You mean
opening
Last
weekend,
Jedi? Did
Yeah, I was
break
gonna say
record?
that was last Jedi.
after opening weekend, it fell 82%. And what happened was because of all the bad word of mouth and stuff like that, Columbia Pictures actually pulled all the advertising for the film because of the terrible reviews. So basically, it was a self-fulfilling prophecy type thing where they didn't want to keep throwing good money after bad. So basically, they stopped advertising it. I think it came out in like over like 2,000 screens, something like that. So it was just like everything was working against this film.
Yeah.
And in fact, it's kind of funny because Matt Damon has been quoted as saying that every time you mention Gigli, Ben Affleck has like a visible twitch that like he almost like, what do you call it, flinches whenever you say the name Gigli. And Kevin Smith has said that like whenever him and Ben Affleck are playfully ribbing one another, Smith only has to say Gigli at the end of the conversation. So like it's kind of like Vader's boobs where like they're talking. It's
Yeah.
it's like okay, I'll see you tomorrow. Okay, Gigli. So like but yeah, this film, like I don't think people understand just how bad it truly is. Like it's just everything about it, the acting, the direction, the writing, the dialogue. Even like Brian's performance, you know,
They focus on it way too much.
like you know how in Tropic Thunder they have that line.
That was my final when we were going to go around for final thoughts. I was going to be like,
Yeah.
Tropic Thunder was right.
yeah, Tropic Thunder was right.
You never-
They went full in this
They
movie.
went full, and it was a mistake.
Yeah.
That's my final thoughts. Vader, what about you? What are your final thoughts on Gigli rhymes with really?
I'm ashamed that you guys can't say the word retard.
It's a no word
It's
now.
not. It's just whatever.
As long as you don't say it with malice. I just don't care. Whatever.
Brian was fun. I liked him. I liked laughing at him. It was good acting performance. So yeah, the rest of the movie was terrible.
Okay.
Terrible movie.
Baywatch.
I'm glad we watched it.
Can we go to Baywatch?
2 hours.
That's where the sex is.
That's where the sex is.
You're telling me
My
you guys are
penis sneezed.
I thought
I forgot about that.
And then the part where Ben Affleck goes, "God bless you, penis," after they had sex.
Did he say that?
Yeah.
Oh my God, really?
Huh? They're laying in bed together, snuggling, and he goes, "God bless you, penis," and she's like, "What?" And he's like, "Nothing."
I mean,
It just means that he came.
Oh my God.
Just make it a joke.
my final thought, I could sit there and watch J-Lo stretch out for a while. That's no problem. But the rest of the movie is terrible.
Okay.
1-star crap fest for sure.
J-Lo looked good in this movie.
She did.
Heck
She
yeah.
still looks good.
Yeah.
She's great looking.
She's
lady.
She's an
Jenny from the
attractive
Block.
woman.
Jude, final thoughts on
A-Rod's a lucky guy.
rhymes with really.
I'm really sorry, you guys.
Our top patron, Haas, was like, I'm pulling my money from you.
I'm sorry.
You better apologize.
No more rom-coms.
I'm going to put it on your head so your tongue can slap you in the face as you lick it.
I'll send you a pie horse. I'm really sorry.
Go to Marie Callender's.
It cost $75 to get to Australia. So you know. I shipped him a t-shirt once and it cost me $75.
Oh, God.
It's like, wow.
Yeah, he was only $1 patron.
Yeah. See what I do for you? This is how much I love you guys. All right. Kadish, final thoughts on...
I can see why this ended the career of a Oscar-nominated writer-director. It was a very bad movie. Terribly cast, terribly acted, terribly directed, terribly written. Everything about this movie is bad.
Yeah.